Good morning, YouTube. So finished up the battery cage. Had to make a few little minor modifications. I had to do a clearancing cut here to access this bolt on the positive terminal, and then I also trimmed a little bit back here so I could clear my bus bar out to the side. I had to redo my battery connections. I thought I would get ahead of things by making those before I finished this up. So yeah, once I got everything put together, I found I just didn't have as much room as I thought I would. So I had to basically shrink everything down. So one thing I did was I cut off the feet on the bottom of the circuit breaker, and I made this so this thing just sits down as low as possible so it can clear under the charge controller, and the bolt here was going to be in the way. So I think I can rotate this over a bit, and then I can also get my Allen key in here to get to that bolt, and then this thing can fit pretty much anywhere I need to from over here to over here. This will bolt down to the battery terminal and then goes through the circuit breaker, and then I have this connection here because this one would be so far back it would be hard to get to once everything's installed, because the charge controller is going to be sitting like right here, so I can't get to this bolt once everything's installed. So that's why I have this piece coming out to the front, and I can get in here with an Allen key and get my positive cable up, because I have to connect this point over here will be my positive bus bar, where I'll have the power inverter and some other things hooked up. So I just need a heavy gauge cable to go basically from here over to here, and then this will be the negative connection, and likewise I can move this around wherever it's most convenient. Okay, I think I have the charge controller pre-wired here. So I've got an SAE connector here. This is the rest of the cable that I use to connect from the MC4 connectors on the roof of the truck over to an SAE connector. I had a 3-foot long cable, so I got this much left from the rooftop adapter. So the other end of that cable became my solar panel input, and then here's my battery connection. So, and I have a fuse there. Down here off of the DC load output, I have a separate connector here and a cable, and this is my auxiliary loads, and I can plug that into this fuse block over here. You get all the DC output, and then I can turn that on and off. If I don't need anything in the back of the truck, I can just turn off the DC load output. So all of the DC load in the truck will be powered through this cable, except for the AC power inverter is going to come off of my bus bar over there. So I still have to set that up, but I wanted to get this attached to the battery, put the whole module in the truck and plug in the solar panel, and just make sure it works, let it run for a while before I really need it. And then I can start hooking up my lighting circuits here. I can hook up the overhead lights, I can hook up my LED strip for ambient lighting, just get those hooked up and done, because that's all I need. And then I'll have lighting in the back of the truck that I can use, especially now that we're moving into fall. If I'm working on the truck at night, I need some light in the back, and I've got light if I hook up some wires to this. Okay, there we got everything hooked up. I got the batteries connected. Yeah, I'll probably fool around with the cables here, figure out maybe if I have to shorten them, or especially this one here. I'm not sure how far I need that to run and how I want to route it, but that's part of the idea. Put this together and then we'll throw it in the truck. And then right here I've got my phone, and I've hooked up to the Bluetooth. See, I've got the temperature probe plugged in, and it's reading 80 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius. There's the voltage. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is let's take this out in the truck, and I want to get it mounted up against the side of the bed. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave the plywood bed sides out. That way I can work on them. and just have this plugged into the truck for a while, see if the solar panel input works, check that the temperature probe works, and let this thing run for a while, see if there's any issues. Okay, YouTube, we got her plugged in. I got the solar charging there. Yeah, so we're getting 7.2 amps coming in from the solar panels, or at least charging the battery, 100 watts going into the battery off of a 200 watt panel. Yeah, that turns off the DC load right there. There's the charging current, 7.2 amps coming into the battery. There's the temperature. It is a bit warm out here in the back of the truck, so I've got the temperature probe on the side of the battery. I'll figure out if that works good there. See the charging, it jumped up as soon as I plugged it in there. You know, it's early October, so the sun angle is a little bit lower, and then my truck is parked in the driveway, which slopes downhill about 5 degrees, so that tips the solar panels 5 degrees more away from a good alignment. I may have to redo this threaded insert over there. I think when I installed it originally, I had an eye bolt in there for some straps, and I don't think I got that insert in straight, so it's kind of crooked, and when I try to start the screw straight in, it gets messed up, so I think I might have to try resetting that insert, or I guess remove it and put a new one in. It did get a little tight. I think I still have to push the charge controller down a little bit in the slotted holes. When I just had the frame and I had the charge controller without the battery in there, this thing fit. I had 1/8 of an inch of clearance all the way around, and now there's no clearance. It's like maybe a 1/16 of an inch right down here at that corner. It just barely fits. It's touching right up there, so just putting everything together, it gets bigger for some reason. Yeah, so I'll put links to all these parts in the video description. It makes a nice combination. Everything's kind of sized, 20 amp charge controller, 200 watt panel, and then about a 100 amp hour battery. So I think it's a nice combination of parts. It fits. That was the main thing. You can see it just barely fits. There's no extra room up there. Stay tuned. We'll do an update when I get a little farther with some of the other connections here. And if you have any questions, post up in the comments section below. And as always, thanks for watching.